Hello there, my name is Preston, and this is my cat Melvin. I am 20 years old, and in my 20 years of life, I have seen some pretty darn good movies. And this is going to be a list of my 20 current favorite movies on all planet Earth right now. So they're not going to be in any particular order, because it would kill me to have to rank all of these movies because they're so freaking good. What I'll do is, in the end, when I get to it, I'll tell you which one is hands down my favorite. Maybe top 3, we'll see. But yeah, without further dilly-dally, let's get into it. The first movie I want to tell you about is But I'm a Cheerleader.
I'm not perverted. I get good grades, I go to church, I'm a cheerleader.
Directed by Jamie Babbitt and released in 1999, But I'm a Cheerleader follows Megan, a seemingly all-American cheerleader who gets sent to a conversion camp after her parents suspect that she's a lesbian. The film follows Megan as she confronts her understanding of her own sexuality. She makes a friend or two along the way, and despite her efforts, she falls in love with, you guessed it, another woman. I remember so clearly the first time that I watched this movie. I was watching it on Tubi for free, and I don't think I was any older than 14 at the time. I was watching it under the covers, and I was scared that, someone would catch me watching such a taboo movie, because where I was living and where I grew up, it wasn't the kind of environment you could watch a movie that dealt with homosexual content in it from anywhere but underneath the covers. And so something there that I saw that night under my covers it has really remained in my heart since. This is a very sentimental and comfortable movie for me to put on. I rewatch it. I have rewatched it quite a lot in my lifetime, not gonna lie. And I love the color palette of this movie first and foremost. It's drenched in blues and pinks to, reinforce their little gender roles and stuff. It's just a very pretty movie though. Every scene that the main character is in, trying to pass her classes, I guess, her conversion classes, it's so pretty. And then this is in that late 90s early 2000s era where of course they have a really bomb movie montage. It is a very great movie montage, definitely one of my favorites. And the subject matter is very comforting. As a gay man, watching that when I was very young was very important, because all of the representation that I saw was just freaking sad. Every gay movie I had seen up to that point, none of them had a happy ending. And I hate to spoil the ending of this movie, but this one does have a happy ending. So it was a very important movie for me to see at the time, and it has remained with me since in many ways. So thank you, But I'm a Cheerleader. Such a good movie. It's got RuPaul in it. If you haven't seen it already, definitely do yourself a favor and give it a watch. Next up is Practical Magic.
In the moon tonight, there's a circle around it, a sign of trouble not far behind. I don't want to believe it, but there is no man, Jilly. Only that moon.
Directed by Griffin Duane and released in 1998, Practical Magic stars Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman as sisters Sally and Gillian Owens. Descended from a long line of witches, after their parents' death from a family curse, the sisters are raised by their kooky aunts. They grow up resenting their magical abilities, and Sally strays away from using them. But that's all out the window when Gillian gets herself in quite the pickle with her evil boyfriend Jimmy. After accidentally murdering him, they attempt a resurrection spell and quickly realize that Jimmy didn't come back the same. Together, Sally and Gillian must recontextualize all they know about magic, love, and sisterhood
to destroy the evil spirit of Jillian's abusive boyfriend before all the Owens women meet their end.
I really love this story so much. It's just such an entertaining movie, and I am a sibling, and I really love my siblings a lot. And whenever there's a story or a plot line that deals with like a sibling dynamic, I'm just a sucker for it. I'm always there, seated and curious about what's going on. So yeah, this movie is a movie that my family would rewatch damn near every Halloween. It's definitely a staple. I definitely had a very interesting fascination with like having magical powers when I was little. You will probably see that's a theme with a couple more movies on this list. So and this movie has just stuck with me since. It's a very fall, autumn, very sensual, romantic movie. It is a love story, and I love love. So of course, what's not to love about that movie? Practical Magic. Give it up for Practical Magic. Great movie. The next movie on my list is Suspiria.
Directed by Dario Argento and released in 1977, Suspiria follows Susie, an American ballet student who arrives at a prestigious German dance academy only to quickly become entangled in a series of brutal murders and strange occurrences. A supernatural mystery unfolds as Susie dances her way through a dreamlike atmosphere thick with despair, surreal horror, and vibrant violence. The film touches on themes of female power, ancient evil, and the unsettling intersection of art, dance, and horror.
This is probably one of my top 3 horror movies of all time. I immediately knew when I first finished this movie, from that moment on, the whatever I qualify as a good movie, the standards had changed. Like, this movie managed to get under my skin in such a unique way and such a beautiful way. It's truly one of the most beautiful horror movie I've ever seen, because it's a technicolor slasher. The colors are almost like a character in this movie to me. I love Suspiria for that. I think it's probably one of the, I don't know, you'll have to fact check me, I don't know, but it definitely was probably one of the first horror movies to really utilize like such a vibrant color palette. And of course the story is good too. I mean, the setting is beautiful. They're in Germany, they're all ballet dancers, and I love the remake too, but this one just will always be in like a league of its own for that beautiful color palette. It's almost a way to visually and narratively weave the story together. So many interesting images came from this movie. I mean, you could pause it at a lot of points, and that's literally just like an art piece within itself. I've even painted one of the stills from this movie, so yeah, definitely a movie that's engraved in my brain. Anyways, next movie is When Harry Met Sally.
How do you know?
I mean, how do I know? I know.
Because they...
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
Get out of here.
It's just that all men are sure it never happened to them, and most women at one time or another have done it, so you do the math.
You don't think that I could tell a difference?
No.
Get out of here. Are you okay?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Yes! Yes! Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Directed by Rob Reiner and released in 1989, Harry and Sally, who meet only as strangers sharing a ride from Chicago to New York, debate on if men and women can ever truly be just friends. Sally thinks so, but Harry thinks sex will be a problem. The two gradually build a strong, complex friendship over the span of 12 years in New York City. The movie is a debate on platonic and romantic feelings and the worth of confronting them. A debate on if friendship can evolve into lasting love, and an answer to the question on everybody's mind. What happened when Harry met Sally?
This is one of my favorite rom-coms ever. I've loved this since I was a little boy. This movie is a very, very uniquely structured movie. They have these scenes of different couples all throughout the movie, just talking about their stories of how they fell in love with each other and, you know, maybe obstacles that they had to overcome. And then also there are these scenes where Harry and Sally are on the phone and like they do these really interesting things with the screen where they're showing what they're both doing. And I think, for a movie that came out in 1989, I feel like they were ahead of the curve with rom-coms and the ways that they get the story progressing. It's really good. I love the dialogue too. These are really well written characters. I love their love story. It's a love story I've never seen quite like this before. They meet, they hate each other, and then another 10 years go by. And then with this 10 years, it's like, have we maybe learned how to get along now? Have we maybe developed some sort of attraction to each other? How's that gonna work out? I don't know. If you haven't watched it, you'll have to find out. You'll have to see for yourself. I will never get tired of this soundtrack either. It's such a good soundtrack. Oh my god. It's like for hopeless romantics that love jazz. Next up is a movie unlike any other movie you will probably ever see in your lifetime. Basket Case.
What's in the basket?
My brother.
Released in 1982, Basket Case is a cult classic horror movie. It was the debut feature film of Frank Henenlotter. The movie follows a young man named Dwayne carrying a big basket that contains his deformed, formerly conjoined twin brother, Belial, as the two seek vengeance on the doctors who separated them against their will. The film touches on themes of revenge, sibling codependency, isolation, and separation.
This movie just scratches a certain part of my brain. It's kind of like a bad movie, you know, to some it could be considered a bad movie. I love bad, cheesy, goopy, campy movies, and so this was right up my alley. It came out in the 80s. That is another great era for me because some of the best camp and bad, cheesy things did happen in the 80s. This was one of them. They used stop motion for the brother, Belial, and I was so fascinated seeing all of his scenes where he gets to come out of his basket. And it's just such a fun movie, you know. It's like you're rooting for them, but then also you're like, oh man, y'all are in a codependent relationship and you really need help. But like the blood is all pink. Yeah, I love this movie, okay? And that's that. Marie Antoinette. Out of every movie on planet Earth that I've seen, when I think which one is the best one, this just takes the cake.
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
Sofia Coppola's 2006 film Marie Antoinette follows the Austrian princess played by Kirsten Dunst from her naive arrival at Versailles at 14 to her eventual downfall at the hands of the French Revolution, focusing on her feelings of isolation, lavish lifestyle, and her struggles to consummate her marriage to the awkward Louis XVI. The movie portrays her as a misunderstood historical figure struggling with the extreme pressure and expectations from all who surround her. The movie beautifully depicts her extravagant excess and the public's misconstrued persona of her that would eventually cost her her head.
Now, I did say that Suspiria was the most beautiful horror movie I have ever seen in my life, and that's why I said a horror movie, because this is the most beautiful piece of film that I have ever seen, ever. Every single part of this movie seemed so intricately cared for and thought out and planned and detailed that rewatching it is... I've rewatched it probably 4 times this past year alone, and it's every single time is rewarding. This has my second favorite soundtrack of all time. I love this soundtrack. It is a exceptional, perfect soundtrack for what this movie is. The costuming is so good. There's nothing I could say, unfortunately, about the costuming that has not already been said, but I will say that my favorite part in this movie is when Marie Antoinette reads a letter from her mom that details her mom's disappointment with her over not being able to have a baby with the Dauphin of France, and her dress perfectly matches the wallpaper behind her to kind of like symbolize the feeling that she has of just not living up to anybody's expectations of her and feeling so isolated and alone, and almost like her light is dimming, she's just fading into the background. It's a very beautiful scene. I've never been too big on history, and the fact that this movie is like a historical, biopic, I guess, and it really captured my attention, and it made me give 2 shits about who Marie Antoinette was and how she got did dirty. Sofia Coppola and Kirsten Dunst, very killer combo. The next movie on my list is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
There are very special films that plunge you into a world of total terror, unleashing emotions so intense, so awesome, there is no defense. Prepare yourself. From deep space, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, rated PG.
Directed by Philip Kaufman and released in 1978, somewhere in San Francisco, Health Inspector Matthew and good friend Elizabeth discover that his friends and colleagues are being replaced by emotionless alien duplicates in their sleep. The clones are grown from large seed pods. Matthew and a few others desperately fight the clone takeover, happening right under everyone's noses, while constantly fearing they will fall asleep and become the next soulless clones, building paranoia and dread as they realize they might not only be too late to save humanity, but too late to save even themselves.
Hello. This has everything I adore about movies. Aliens, body snatching, invasions, aliens. I really love aliens, and this is an alien story unlike any other. This alien story happens right beneath all of the characters' noses, and before they can really convince anybody of anything, it's too late. They're knee deep in this situation. There's no getting out of that. Like, this movie is so it has a very paranoid, very suspicious atmosphere to it.
My audio cut out, but what I was saying is just basically the movie is very beautifully written and the characters feel very grounded in reality. For me, that's exactly what separates this film from many other alien invasion stories. There are no jump scares to be found here, no scenes I would consider as filler, and little to no gore. But the movie is still very effective, and it left a lasting impression in my mind. I really cared about what would happen to the characters in the end, and ultimately I walked away from this movie with a newfound gratefulness for all the things that make me flawed and human.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you because it's something you simply have to watch for yourself. Something else you simply have to watch for yourself is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah, the big screen gives me a lot more room for expression, and it's also more comfortable because I was kind of like squished in that small television box, you know. But you do get to see more of me because I wear some rather brief costumes. Letter writers always say, Elvira, why do you only have one leg? But I finally wear like some short costumes so you get to see both of them. You looking for me?
Directed by James Signorelli, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark is a 1988 comedy horror movie. Upon arriving in a small town where Elvira has inherited a rundown mansion, the famous horror host must battle an evil uncle and the townspeople who want to burn her at the stake.
So this has my favorite girl ever, Cassandra Peterson, in her prime, some might say. I mean, what's not to love about this movie? She's funny as hell. She is representing all of the horror baddies, such as myself. She's beautiful, sexy, she's slick, she's a little sultry too. Yeah, she's back in town to get her estate, and she just ruffles everybody's feathers because she sticks out like a sore thumb, and you know, all of the people there are just a little closed-minded, and they don't know how to accept this beautiful bombshell with open arms, basically. And you know, I can relate to that a little bit. You know, she's like very confident in her sensuality and in her body and what she brings to the table, humor-wise, aesthetically speaking. She's definitely also like a very big staple in fashion for me. Queen of cheetah print. And of course, this movie was also another 80s release, and so, you know, it's very funky, and I like the special effects are like so telling of the time, but they're something that can never be replicated again. So I cherish that, and I think that that's definitely a very charming element to this movie. So she got up in that town and she did her big one.
Have you got your barf bags ready? Remember our motto, you gag, we bag.
Oh my god, this one's also on my top 3 of all time. Jennifer's Body.
Written by Diablo Cody and directed by Karen Kusama, Jennifer's Body was released in 2009, and it follows popular teenager Jennifer after she is sacrificed in a satanic ritual by a boy band who mistakenly took her for a virgin. Due to her not even being a backdoor virgin, the ritual goes wrong, and Jennifer returns to school as a demon who must feed on boys for her beauty. The whole ordeal forces her best friend Needy to confront their toxic relationship and save her own boyfriend from Jennifer. The movie deals with sexual assault, female friendship, and the ridiculous pressures of beauty standards through a queer feminist horror comedy lens.
It was just love at first watch with this movie. I was so enamored with Jennifer. I love seeing a codependent friendship and the means of that friendship ending explored through the lens of a horror romance comedy. Yes, give it to me. Not to mention there are some undeniable homosexual things going on in subtexts, but not even subtext, because they address that in the movie. So anywho, I just have to say, like, the impact it's had on my sense of identity is definitely something to write home about. This movie, it lives in my brain's lexicon rent-free. The soundtrack, can we talk about that soundtrack? Come on, the soundtrack is freaking exquisite. They had perfect casting. This movie was made in the perfect time as well, you know, and it's only gonna age better and better. Yeah, this movie's for all of the girls that have ever had a toxic friend, but you still love them, but they're toxic as hell. But you really love them though. But they are very toxic. Next up is The Fly.
What does the disease want?
It wants to turn me into something else.
That's not too terrible, is it? Most people would give anything to be turned into something else.
Turned into what?
What do you think, a fly? Am I becoming a 185-pound fly?
Directed by David Cronenberg and released in 1986, The Fly is a cautionary tale of why humans should not try their hand at playing God. The movie follows a mad scientist who's creating a teleportation device when his experiment goes horribly wrong and a housefly merges with his DNA, causing a grotesque, gradual transformation into a human-insect hybrid. His descent is chronicled by his journalist girlfriend Veronica. The film explores themes of identity, love, obsession, unchecked scientific ambition, disease, body horror, all while serving as a dark, tragic romance and a commentary on loss of self.
Okay, so this has another one of my celebrity crushes in it, in his prime. Jeff Goldblum in this movie could definitely get it. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe like we could do a haircut, but you know what? Even if you don't cut your hair, that's fine. We can still make it work. So not only is the eye candy qualification met with this movie, but really all my boxes are checked. I mean, we have a huge, grotesque body like transformation, I guess is what you could call it, into a gigantic, slimy, grisly, textured, goopy fly. Yes. Ooh, that sounds so good right now. I think I should rewatch this movie. I definitely have watched it with some friends and they're like, what the fuck was that? But I know it's considered a classic in the horror community, so it's kind of funny. It's just kind of funny because you can never really tell how anybody's gonna react to movies. But yeah, I put it in a special green case because I just thought it was the bee's knees. And yeah, it's another one of those like almost out of touch movies. This movie seems the characters just feel very out of touch with reality for me, and I like that. It kind of gives me like a opportunity to escape and get a little out of touch myself. I definitely look for that a lot in movies. It's in that golden era for body horror. The practical effects in this are just too good. This movie actually would go on to inspire one of my movies coming up later on this list. And yeah, this is a staple for body horror. And if you haven't seen The Fly already, this was your sign to watch it. The next movie on my list is my most worn out movie from my childhood. I have burned the wheels off of Matilda.
Matilda is now available on videotape. You know what that means?
No more Miss Nice Girl. You did this.
She's a girl with the power to make anything possible. This movie's got action. Triumph. And food. It has food. It has everything except kissing. There's no kissing.
I've rewatched it enough times to know the script front to back. I can quote it top to bottom. This movie, I mean, as a child, Matilda's story really spoke to me. I just thought I had it so bad. I saw my parents and Matilda's parents, the Wormwoods, and you know what, now that I'm an adult, like, it wasn't that bad, but you know, I still was there staring at a freaking Fruity Pebble on our counter really hard, staring at it really hard to try and make it move, and just praying that it would move even just the slightest bit so that I would know that I had powers. But my powers never came, and they still haven't came to this day. But maybe, you know, like, maybe I'm a late bloomer, it might still happen. I really hope that it does, because life is just a lot more boring without magical abilities. But this movie is just a really beautiful story. I can't wait to have a kid and watch it with my child. It's got a good moral to it, you know. Matilda is nice and she's kind hearted throughout the whole movie, and she doesn't change herself for anyone. She doesn't dumb herself down for anyone. And in the end, she gets the family that she always deserved. And that's what everyone should have. So, yeah, there are many things to love about Matilda. It's a very funny movie, too. So, yeah. Another one of my most rewatched childhood movies is Shrek. I don't have the picture for it, so you'll just have to take my word for it that it's Shrek.
Spooky in here, I ain't playing no games.
Well, at least we know where the princess is, but where's the dragon?
Directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen and released in 2001, a mean and tiny Lord Farquaad exiles all the fairy tale creatures to the swamp of a grumpy ogre named Shrek, who must go on a quest and rescue a princess named Fiona, hiding a very big secret. In order to get his swamp back, he must return Fiona to Lord Farquaad for matrimony. However, he might just end up developing feelings for Fiona himself before he can do so.
It was hard to choose between this and Shrek 2. They're both such good classics. I most definitely have rewatched Shrek 2 enough times to quote it, but I think I'm choosing Shrek 1 because it's the OG, and we wouldn't have Shrek 2 if it wasn't for Shrek 1, okay? Let's put some respect on Shrek 1's name, okay? You know, this one gets better with every single rewatch. It's like, even when you think you know all the jokes, like they finally, not one joke has gone over your head, you know? You've rewatched it that many times that all of the jokes, you got them. No. Every time you rewatch this movie, there's another joke that you didn't get. At least that's my personal experience with Shrek. I think that Shrek is one of the most relatable characters of all time, and I'm not joking when I say that. Shrek is really a guy's guy. He's really a girl's girl too. I mean, we're all Shrek, low-key. Like, we're all in the freaking outhouse stall reading the fairy tale and being like, yeah, what a load of shit, and then wiping our ass with it, and then going out and freaking falling in love. Like, the graphics are also just so nostalgic. They're, man, I'm really scared for the new Shrek. I don't want them to mess it up, but I don't know. Hopefully we're in good hands. The next movie on my list is An American Werewolf in London.
An American Werewolf in London.
Written and directed by John Landis in 1981, An American Werewolf in London follows American backpackers David and Jack as they are attacked by a werewolf on the Yorkshire moors. One dies and one survives, only to discover he's been infected and will transform into a werewolf during the next full moon. He's haunted by his best friend's undead decomposing ghost, who demands that he unalive himself to break the curse, leading to this horrifying, darkly comedic tragedy.
Yeah, anyways, okay, so this guy right here, fine shit, really fine shit. I know this is gonna sound repetitive, but another celebrity crush of mine. What's this guy's name? I don't know his name. Ooh, you don't know my name. Oh. Allegedly, it's David Naughton. What I wouldn't give to have been a man in the 80s. Gee Willikers, man, what a fine man. What a fine man. He definitely has a scene or two in this movie that had me rewinding my VHS. Not gonna lie. This one and Ginger Snaps are definitely my favorite werewolf movies, but I'll let my sister have Ginger Snaps because she definitely loves it. This movie is a lot of things too. It's not just a werewolf movie. There's a lot of other themes and plot lines that they deal with in this movie, and I appreciate that a lot. It's not a by any means a straightforward movie either. It's also a love story. It's not just about werewolves, and it's also about grief and PTSD, and yeah, I love this movie. Okay, so listen, with the next movie on this list, I was gonna pick this movie, but then I ended up changing my mind and picking a different movie, but I'm still gonna tell you what that other movie was because I do really love this movie. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Rent 10 Things I Hate About You this week at Blockbuster and go home happy. Discover a movie that will capture your heart and rip it to shreds. 10 Things I Hate About You, rated PG-13. Parents strongly caution. Rent it this week at Blockbuster.
Directed by Gil Younger and released in 1999, 10 Things I Hate About You follows Kat Strafford. She's beautiful, smart, and quite abrasive to most of her fellow teens, which means she doesn't attract many boys. Unfortunately for her younger sister Bianca, the house rules say that she can't date until her sister has a boyfriend. So strings are pulled to set the sour damsel up for a romance. Soon Kat crosses paths with the handsome Patrick Verona. Kat may let her guard down enough to fall for the effortlessly charming Patrick.
I love this movie, I really do. I love the soundtrack, I love the story, I love the acting, I love the characters, I love the writing of the characters, I love the jokes, I love the time period, I love the paintball scene, I love the poems. There's lots to love in this movie, but I'm not the only one that loves this movie. My sister really loves this movie, and she loved this movie before me. I was gonna put it on my list until we were talking about it the other day, and now I just feel like, man, even though I really love this movie and want to put it on this list, technically I'm not putting it on this list. It's like an honorable mention situation, and what I will replace 10 Things I Hate About You with is Bring It On.
Let's hear it for the 5-time national cheerleading champions, the Mighty Toros!
Bring It On was brought to us in 2000 and directed by Peyton Reed. The movie is about the Toro cheerleading squad from Rancho Carne High School in San Diego. They've got the spirit, spunk, sass, and a killer routine that's sure to land them the national champion trophy for the 6th year in a row. But now, for the newly elected team captain Torrance, the Toros' road to total cheer glory takes a shady turn when she discovers that their perfectly choreographed routines were in fact stolen from the Clovers, a hip-hop squad from East Compton. The movie revolves around rivalry, competition, cultural clashing, appropriation, and friendship.
The peppy cheerleader that Kirsten Dunst plays in this movie definitely is a character that I find a lot of humor and comfort in. So rewatching it and rewatching her specifically always puts a very big smile on my face. And I like the themes that they touch on in this movie. They weren't scared to talk about like cultural appropriation, and I have a fat crush on the guy that Kirsten Dunst's character ends up falling in love with. And I also have a little crush on his sister too. They are definitely a very dynamic duo. I love to see them on my screen. The next movie has been one of my favorite movies since I first watched it at 9 years old. Charlie's Angels.
Cameron Diaz.
I'm like a virgin, you know? I mean, it's my first time. Here.
Drew Barrymore.
I figured we could have a little breakfast.
I have to go. A little help?
Oh, yeah. Lucy Liu.
At your service.
Get some action. Charlie's Angels.
Released in 2000 and directed by Joseph McGinty Nicole, Charlie's Angels follows a trio of elite private investigators armed with the latest in high-tech tools, high-performance vehicles, martial art techniques, and an array of disguises Together, the three unleash their state-of-the-art skills on land, sea, and air to track down a kidnapped billionaire and keep his top-secret voice identification software out of lethal hands. They're beautiful, they're brilliant, and they work for Charlie. And Charlie's Angels, a sexy, high-octane update of the original 70s action comedy TV series.
And that's kicking your...
I mean, this has 3 of my favorite actresses in it, all 3 of the main actresses. Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu made history with this. This movie left their fingerprints on the movie industry forever in my eyes. I think that they're just powerhouses that all came together to do something so great, and that was Charlie's Angels. To me, this is like Quentin Tarantino, but make it girly. It's like if Quentin Tarantino did the Powerpuff Girls or something. I love it. It's just the right amount of comedy and sexiness. It's like, it's a very complex movie. There's a lot of complexity in it. The costuming, superb, immaculate costuming. It took me a couple years to really follow the plot, not gonna lie. The first few times I watched this movie as a young one, I didn't really get it. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I liked it, and I really liked that race car scene. But the older I got, the more I rewatched it, the more I followed with the story, and I realized the story was really good too. But I was never really here for the story with this movie. It was always just about the 3 beautiful women on the screen that are something of a role model to me. So yeah, I love Charlie's Angels, and I didn't watch the remake because I knew I would hate it. Is that wrong for me to say? Next up, we got Silence of the Lambs.
A rookie FBI agent.
Found a girl's body down in West Virginia.
Are you saying that he's killed again?
I'll help you catch him, Clary. A psychiatrist turned psychopath.
Yes, and now, Clary, poor little Catherine is waiting.
Opposites with one attraction.
Tell me his name, doctor.
Now,
Lecter's missing hand arm.
her life hangs in the balance.
Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
The Silence of the Lambs, available on video cassette October 24th from Orion Home Video.
It's a movie that gets you so immersed into its storyline and its mystery that it is very unsettling, even though they don't always show you too much. They don't show a lot when they show you things in this movie, but they definitely show you enough and you hear enough to really get your mind stimulated. I'm always going to be a sucker for a feminine main character that kind of subverts expectations or rises to challenges, faces adversity, all that stuff. Jodie Foster in this movie and Sigourney Weaver in Alien are definitely fictional women that I look up to a lot. They're very strong, independent characters. Love it. It's giving role model. This is one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen for a movie too. I would probably get this tattooed on me later in my life. But yeah, it's just such a good freaking mystery. Classic movie, what can I say? I love it. The next movie has a very, very soft spot in my heart, and it's Planet Terror.
Written and directed by Robert Rodriguez and released in 2007, Planet Terror is the tale of an ordinary evening in a small Texas town becomes a grisly nightmare when a horde of flesh-eating zombies goes on the prowl. Cherry, a go-go dancer, and Ray, her ex-lover, band together with other survivors in a no-holds-barred effort to escape the carnage. The odds become a bit more even when Cherry, who lost her leg to a hungry ghoul, gets a machine gun appendage and lets bullets fly.
So this is a Robert Rodriguez film, and I knew that I was gonna love it when the main character says,
I was gonna be a stand-up comedian. I'm just gonna laugh now.
When it comes to zombies, I'm not a hard guy to please. I love Return of the Living Dead. I like some zombie stuff, but this is one of my favorite zombie movies. I really love the action scene where she's using her leg to kick ass and to shoot people. Alright, for the next movie on my list, I'm going to cheat a little bit and I'm going to do a tie but it's by the same director, so please forgive me and just count this as one movie. Revenge and The Substance.
Directed by Coralie Farge and released in 2017, Revenge follows Jin, who's enjoying a romantic getaway with her wealthy boyfriend until his two sleazy friends arrive for an unannounced hunting trip. Tensions mount in the house, and the situation abruptly and viciously intensifies, culminating in a shocking act that leaves Jin brutalized and left for dead. Unfortunately for her assaulters, she survives and soon begins a relentless quest for bloody revenge. The movie subverts rape revenge tropes through brutal stylized violence and vivid, almost mythical imagery. At the time of its release, people questioned whether or not it was a feminist statement or merely repackaging the same misogynistic elements of other revenge fantasy movies. But I think with the release of The Substance in more recent years, the intentions behind this movie and the emotions Coralie Farge tried to convey are much more clear.
But Revenge is really the movie that I would pick over The Substance, because this one gets under my skin a little bit more, because there are specific things that happen to specific body parts that really get to me. It has something to do with feet. I hate feet. Like I'm really scared of toes and feet. And there's a scene in this movie that has something to do with the foot, and it's really bad. It's really atrocious, and it got to me so good. Like it really got me. So anyways, I like the story too. I love the story. It is what the title says it is. It's all about revenge, and it's about resilience, and it's about, well, it's a white knuckle tale of transgression and transformation. I like the desert setting. I think that there aren't a lot of scary movies that are placed in the desert, or I guess body horror movies that are placed in the desert. So it was kind of a refreshing thing to see, and it's so interesting watching this movie to see like the connections that it has to The Substance, because The Substance is the movie that the director Coralie Farge like popped off on. Everyone loves The Substance.
To express in one image a whole story. This mouse, which represents the toxic masculinity, all the patriarchy and everything, how he's gonna literally crash and destroy these shrimps, which at this moment represents Elizabeth. And just with a shrimp, with this noise that take all the space and that destroy,
it stops.
A shrimp becomes a war scene, That's the way I love to express violence that, I feel about those issues.
Released in 2024, The Substance follows fading actress Elizabeth Sparkle as she becomes distressed when her horrendous boss fires her from her aerobic show. She soon injects herself with a mysterious serum that promises a younger, better version of herself. But she comes to find out that she might have been better off just loving herself as she was. The movie addresses beauty standards, society's condemning of growing old, and the lengths people will go to be adored.
The Substance is the movie that was inspired by The Fly a little bit. There were a lot of inspirations for The Substance, but that's why I had to add The Substance to the list, because I do adore this movie, and I wouldn't have watched Revenge if I didn't see The Substance and love it. I watched it when it first came out in theaters, and I was so in love with that movie that I lied to a guy that I was going out on a date with and said I hadn't seen it yet and that I really wanted to see it. And I was like, can we see it? And he said, yeah. And so he took me, he paid for my ticket, and I rewatched that bitch in the theaters. And he didn't end up liking it, which was funny because I didn't end up liking him. But, I did like The Substance. I liked it enough to see it. That wasn't even my last time I saw it. I saw it 3 times in the theaters. I really fucked with the story. I like the commentary on how we start treating people when they start to age, and how we start treating ourselves as results of how other people will be treating other people when they age. and the pressure. I loved how it addressed everything. Rage, feminine rage. It was a movie that clearly she just had so much to say, and it paid off in the end. I really adored The Substance, but I guess I went with Revenge over The Substance just because I do have like Not Like Other Girls syndrome, and I can't say that The Substance is my favorite because The Substance is everybody's favorite. So I'll just go with her lesser known one, Revenge. But hopefully if you haven't watched Revenge, I can put you on Revenge because it is very good, and I just saw it was free on Tubi right now. So, but yeah, this scene with the foot that I'm talking about, terrifying, genuinely terrifying. The next movie on the list is 1114.
I wouldn't say I'm drunk.
Released in 2003 and directed by Greg Marks, 1114 is a black comedy thriller that interweaves 5 distinct storylines in a small town, all converging around a fatal car crash at 11:14 p.m. Basically, the story is about a drunk driver, mischievous teens, a desperate girl planning an abortion, bad decisions. Everything connects in a web of deceit, crime, and dark fate. Everything unfolds through a non-linear, overlapping perspective.
1114.
I think this is probably a movie that a lot of people haven't heard of, and so I hadn't heard of it until my first boyfriend I ever had put it on one day, and he said it was one of his favorite movies, and I was very in love with that movie, and I was very in love with him as well. It's one of very few movies I've ever seen that deals with so many different storylines and then ties them together in the least suspecting way ever. It is a very clever movie. A lot of things in that movie connect to each other, but you'll have to rewatch it if you want to really see the full picture, put all those puzzle pieces together, if you will. And it is a treat from the late 90s, if I do say so myself. I love the soundtrack too. I have got a lot of bomb songs off this movie, not gonna lie. And yeah, I didn't end up staying with that boyfriend, but this movie did end up staying with me. There were a lot of movies that we watched together, and a lot of them were bad. This one was one of the only good ones. So, and just like that, we're at the last movie of this list. And I definitely intentionally put this movie here because this was the first movie that I think I was obsessed with as I was starting to feel like I was becoming an adult. I wasn't an adult. I was, I think, maybe 12 or 13 when I started watching this. But you know, this was the first movie that I was obsessed with when I was growing out my childhood. So anyways, I'm just gonna tell you what it is. It's Bridget Jones's Diary.
I will not be defeated by a bad man and an American stick insect. Instead, I choose vodka and Chaka Khan.
Directed by Sharon Maguire and released in 2001, at the start of the new year, 32-year-old Bridget Jones decides it's time to take control of her life and start keeping a diary. Now the most provocative, erotic, and hysterical book on her bedside table is the one she's writing. With a taste for adventure and an opinion on every subject, from exercise to men to food to sex to everything in between, she's turning a page on a whole new life. She's funny, she's witty, she's British, and she's Bridget.
Here. Look, are you and Cosmo in this together? I mean, you seem to go out of your way to try to make me feel like a complete idiot every time I see you. And you really needn't bother. I already feel like an idiot most of the time anyway.
I don't think you're an idiot at all. I like you. Very much.
Apart from the smoking and the drinking and the vulgar mother and the verbal diarrhea.
No, I like you very much. Just as you are.
Mom.
I adore Bridget Jones's Diary, and I think this is probably another movie too that a lot of people haven't seen, but it's a British rom-com that is just very witty, very clever, and very funny. I love Bridget Jones's Diary. It's great on every rewatch too. I think it's kind of like Shrek in the sense that a lot of things would go over my head and then I rewatch it and then all of a sudden something clicks. It's a very good story. It's kind of like a modern take on Pride and Prejudice. Renee Zellweger put her you-know-what into that role. I mean, she did such a good job depicting that character that I couldn't imagine anybody else playing it, and that character is a character that I see myself in a little bit because she's so clumsy and awkward and like she never says the right thing, she never does the right thing. She's not like effortlessly cool by any means, and as a kid that was very, very important for me to see, and it was a staple in movies that I would watch a lot, and it's probably one of the first rom-coms that ever gave me a specific idea about love and love that I wanted for myself, you know, how I wanted love to look in my life. I do have a couple honorable mentions. The Thing, another great alien invasion movie. If I put it on the list, it wouldn't have felt true to the alien invasion movie that I really loved, which was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'll take Invasion of the Body Snatchers over The Thing, I'm not gonna lie. Something about having it on my list just felt like I was a phony, so I had to take it off. Another movie I would have put on this list was Pretty Woman. Still manages to hold my interest with every single rewatch. I just want that to happen to me. Like, why can't I have a rich man that like takes me out the streets and puts me in a freaking condo at the top of the hotel or something? Possession almost made the cut. I love bad movies. I love artsy-fartsy movies. I like a lot of things that like have the odds stacked against them. It has aliens, crazy psychological things going on. It's a very intense movie and I do love it. But I felt like when I had it on my list, I was like, well, I feel like I'm like an edgelord or something right now. Like, another movie I would put on this list is Sleepaway Camp. They just barely missed the cut. They would have made it on there. I love all those movies. They're my like runner-ups, but yeah, I had to go with the 20 that my gut was telling me to go with. So, but yeah, with that, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Please be safe, stay warm in this weather. I hope that y'all have a good day, and yeah, until then, toodaloo, Scooby-Doo. I'll see you when I got something new.